Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Good evening. I'm tired today, but thanks, kiddo. Yesterday felt like a really good stream, actually. Um, um, what am I doing? Welcome. Ugh. I have wine and a girl dinner. The government has definitely ruled out introducing a copyright exemption for artificial intelligence companies retraining their models on Australian creative works, such as a carve-out has been fiercely rejected by the Creative Centre. I did see that, Bega. It's a step in the right direction, but I am feeling a little bit less good about politics today than I was yesterday. I don't know. We just have some really fundamental issues in society that feel icky to me today. There was a Four Corners episode last night about sexual abuse in childcare. And it's just got me a little like, ugh. Oh my god, I didn't see that. Blue, can you link me at some point? I didn't see that. That's cute. It's pretty bad here in Australia. Like, yeah, that's not scary at all as a father with a 6-year-old girl. Yeah. This is a full-blown house deposit, so... Salmon, thanks for kicking us off tonight. Thank you for the 18 months. I'm extremely grateful. Welcome.
Trying to be the greatest in the league. Where's the trophy? He just
Not the... I don't think I can play a little bit at a time because copyright.
comes running over to me. Touchdown, call the amateurs and cut him from the tee. Ditch the clouds, get the crown, baby, I'm the one to be. 'Cause trying to be the greatest in the league. Where's the trophy? He just comes running over to me. Touchdown, call the amateurs.
I don't know. I feel like this is maybe a stretch. Is this not a stretch? I feel like... Is that not a... I mean, is he not just doing this? Which I understand is like this move, but is it a stretch or is that what he did? He usually does his archer pose. I mean, maybe. Still, that's very cute. Blue. I mean, I've definitely been hope scrolling for sure. Um, and honestly, I still feel fine. Um, Hey, Timina. Hello, Attack Titan Aaron. How you doing? Welcome. Hey, Flagu. I bet it's really validating for you, Bega. I can really see that. I think it is so incredibly difficult for people to understand what that feels like. God, I hope we like could bring everything together. You know, today feels a bit weird. I don't know, something is in the air, but I'm going to be very honest with you. Sometimes the way you engage really annoys me, especially after you were really rude to my mod. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Especially after the multiple times you've crossed boundaries. And I understand that you've attempted to fix your actions, but after the other day you being rude to my mod, and then you, I find it, you're fine. But I don't really know how to explain it in a more robust way. So that's what's in the air. I just find it a little. That's all.
Trier Handera gifted a tier 1 sub to Buddha Bomb 1. They have given 2,735 gift subs in the channel.
No, that's not how that works, Trial. I mean, as someone who had immigration waiting for him personally when I flew back from Turkey from my cousin's wedding, it was a great speech. I know. Also, I need to listen to all of AOC's speech, but she was spitting fire. Yeah, a lot of people feel really positive about AOC. For the coming years. Hey, Info. Just assume that if a mod says something to you, they're doing it on my behalf. I've had extensive conversations with how I would like my chat to be moderated. That's all. Um, Chat, do you think it's inevitable because in general men are physically stronger than women? That power dynamic, like that physical power dynamic, directly impacts the way politics will go forever, and that women's voices will never be held to the same level because there is no underpinning of undercurrent of the ability to inflict violence. Oh, you got Concrad? I'm sorry, Filmsy. I'd like to believe it won't be the case forever, but why? Hey, Syrian. There are cultures where the power dynamics develop differently. They're isolated but not impossible. But from this point, where we are right now, globally, do you think it's possible? Hey, Vox. Hey, Hustlin. Hey, Strawman. I mean, things have definitely changed a lot in 80 years. Well, that's what I think, Bega. I think red pill is it's all permeating. Like it is an alternate reality, and one that with the right set of facts makes sense. So it's, where do you go? Women used to starve themselves in the 1900s. I mean, women have done a lot to fight for their own rights, yes. Do you it does seem to be the default, but how do you create an even field of competition without regard to gender? Like, do you have to come to the agreement that as a society that any infliction of violence is bad, therefore like you have the like an ultimate punishment for violence, therefore violence is not something that you can use as a tool? Like, maybe that's like a super ideological point to get to, but then it like that has its own problems. Starve yourself from shitty men. I feel like a lot of women are doing that. Hi, St. Joe's. I already got called a pseudo-intellectual on that video, by the way, that I posted today. basically saying that it's all pseudo-intellectual bullshit and that philosophers like Rosie Braidotti were groomed from birth to see things that way. It was pretty wild. It's a lot. I don't think all men are shitty. I think all men are tries, but the reality is a lot of them get it wrong. And for a lot of them, they can't be seen trying because it's embarrassing. Thanks, Flagoo. I know, Trier. But like, so say if we're asking for equality between men and women. Hey, Monk. Like, if we're asking for equality, what does that equality look like? Because it's definitely not physical equality. I can agree to that, unless we're talking about autonomy, like, and the right to think and act on the world. But what if the people who are making the decisions about representation think that women are just too emotional to lead? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they do think. What about the men who aren't crying out for help and just think that they're right? Like, the actions that they're doing will never lead to the results that they want, but they are fully convinced that they're right. An educated society wouldn't think that. Unfortunately, we don't have an educated society. Yeah. The cheese looks good as hell. I really wanted cheese today. It's just brie. I don't think that is as true as well. Part of the reason there is a lack of representation is a lack of women wanting to represent. Yeah, because the culture that exists in those areas sucks. It's the reason I don't want to go into politics. Imagine. It's rough enough being a fucking woman on the internet, let alone a woman in politics. I disagree with you, Buddha. Please write in paragraphs. It perhaps arrives after base needs are met and there are some strong egalitarian values. Yeah, I just don't see how it happens. Oh, Syrian, I think that's valid. I mean, Baker, that makes a little bit of sense. Ruggers, we began with, do you think that the physical differences regarding like power and domination between men and women in general will always result in politics ending up a certain way? No, you can't have any of this. It's not for doggies. I know you think it might be for doggies, but it's not for doggies. It is hard to say, right? Forever is a very long time. We might end up with modded humans, exoskeletons. Yeah. I mean, imagine modded humans where everybody had the same level of like strength. Yeah, it's extremely exploitative. I agree, Baker. Imagine being surveilled like actually 24/7 in your life. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like, no peace, not a moment's privacy. Like, that would be wild. And it's not outside the realm of possibility, really, is it? We are surveilled 24/7? Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about inside your home on camera. It's just brie. I think it's Tasmanian double brie. I know. Imagine, like, that's what I mean. Like, what behaviors would disappear? And should they? On the contrary, I think it would be liberating everyone on an equal playing field. Maybe. I'd still lick the bowl after having ice cream, so amount of surveillance can take that from me. Lol. Neurological monitoring for thought crime. I think that would be crazy. Shush. The little doggy's barking. Pixel. All I can think of is Cyberpunk Edge Runners, where he's walking to school and there's a guy off to the side with basically an auto jacker and a VR headset on. No privacy, no problem. Yeah, and no care in the world. Hi, Ultimate D-Man. True, Lekevbo, you can't. You would be perceived at your absolute worst. Imagine like being sick or like that's terrifying, straw man. How close to the Wi-Fi routers have to be? How many do they have to be? Yeah, from the ground up, imagine. Straight up your nose at all times. I wanted to start with this.
Did you know that the desire to be an influencer was once called sickness of visibility? When we think of influencers, we think of Instagram reels, TikTok dances, viral tweets. But the deeper roots of influence, namely attention, image, public perception, stretch much further back. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw something like it. He complained about the mass culture of his day. Now, the discussion of journalism or people who blame the media for everything is a whole different topic. But let me put what Nietzsche says into different words. The people who capture our attention and who shape what we think is important, they're not always the greatest thinkers, they're just the most visible ones. Influence, therefore, is less about truth and more about visibility. And in our age, the same dynamic plays out, just at a faster pace. What can we learn from that? Just because somebody has reach doesn't mean they have insight. Visibility does not equal authority on a subject. And for ourselves, if we are aware of the image economy, it helps us resist being passive consumers. To say the Nietzsche's words, don't surrender your thinking to whoever is the loudest. And for those of us who do create, I think we need to remember that influence is a responsibility, not just a metric. Did you know that the desire to be an
What do you mean by she's level 4? Hi, Punky. Like, how much do we think the concept of being seen has influenced the political landscape. Because I think it's a lot. I agree. I think it's a whole lot. Trump's entire politic is based on pure theater. Well, this is kind of, I'm not gonna lie, this is what kind of got me in like a, I'm not moody, but I'm a bit flat. Because since we're here, how do we ever get to a point where we respect the greatest thinkers again? When it's not largely profitable, not largely visible, and then somebody I think is a great thinker, right? The response to that, or one of the comments that I got in response to that, is this: what a bunch of pseudo-intellectual garbage, consistently seeing fascism as a boogeyman in everything, despite not even seeing the absolute irony in the way blame goes out constantly towards very specific directions. Maybe consider looking inward for once. Right? And then I asked the person to explain it further, and they said, sure, a little. A lot of these pseudo-intellectual modern philosophers who were borderline groomed from birth to be successful and then talk about things that get fed to them from fellow philosophers, in quotation marks, inside their circle jerks which they studied in their silver spoon universities. This is a lot of bitterness. Love to constantly talk about fascism and advocate things they themselves have never actually experienced with a suicidal empathy. We're going to come back to this. While oftentimes actively not realizing the inherent fascism that they subsumed. There is a constant pretense of we have to be better than this, while at the same time putting blame towards specific directions as if trying to put up a target: isms, phobia, climate warning. And whenever else yet, the irony absolutely not being seen, how the same people constantly quoting these things are the ones trying to constantly silence any opposition to trying to call them out. American or not, this stuff is incredibly consistent in first world countries. Hell, in Germany, as example, the very people who try to blame the AfD for fascism and call for its ban actively reinforce fascism in the most literal of ways. The notion, as it was mentioned in the video, that one's place forms one is partly true, but trash like this constantly forgets the fact that nature and nurture aren't mutually exclusive and they actually make and break each other both. I mean, that bit I kind of agree with. It also doesn't help that there is a constant air of clearly we are superior than them when spouting we have to be better than this-esque bullshit that she clearly doesn't even believe herself. She might as well be enacting microfascisms herself. And you yourself are doing this ridiculous mention of Trump and whoever occasionally, while not noticing that you just affirm microaggressions yourself. Microaggressions towards Trump. Leaving clear leeway to whatever ideology you're aligned to. Consider actually abandoning all delusions of ideology and experience life and the people in said life properly, instead of constantly regurgitating garbage made up by think tanks funded by the very politicians you seem not to be a fan of. Look, I will say this, it did get me thinking. It did get me thinking. But I do agree that like almost any political ideology is susceptible to fascism in a way, right? Um, Totalitarianism. I honestly think it's a whole paragraph to say I don't like intellectuals that speak this way because I don't respect them. Touch grass. Oh my god. Alcerian, yes. Oh, sorry. I can make it big and put it on the screen for you if you want. I did try to explain to somebody in another comment um the double this shows that it's AI generated. Really? Well, that's why he didn't answer my question afterwards. I mean, that's kind of funny. What is Silver Spoon University supposed to imply? You know, sometimes it's valid and it's frustration at the inaccessibility of education, right? So it's, you know, it's class, um, like critique. Like if you're born with a silver spoon, I mean, it's pretty obvious when people don't have the same life experiences as you do. And especially if they're not taught about their own privilege, it can be very obvious, right? That they have just been comfortable and done no work to really develop themselves or their skills because they haven't ever had to, because money has never really been a thought, like, you know, the barriers just haven't been there. But it is also used to be anti-intellectual in the same way. It's like, oh, you went to university, oh, then you've got leftist propaganda from your university. That's why you're a liberal, because you got that university liberal propaganda. Not that because that is like the outcome of learning about all these things, but I was a leftist way before uni. I wasn't. I didn't understand politics at all before uni. It went psychology, politics, philosophy for me. I found philosophy really hard at uni. Really inaccessible. But maybe that's just because I didn't have the right, like, maybe my hand wasn't held in the right way. I don't think a full education is necessary to be a leftist. I think a lot of people don't want to think that much. I think it's the internet, Trya. You fall down whatever pipeline you fall down on the internet, right? And that's, I think, where the difference is for me. I'm very lucky my mother became an anti vaxxer later in life when I had already developed into a real person. I'm too old for internet to be an early influence. No, what were the early influences then? Maybe books, reading, or just maybe the world that we grew up in. I don't know. Being a millennial, it feels like childhood peak. And then, bam, 9/11. And then, bam, global financial crisis. And then it's like, oh, we're just pulling everything together. Oh, no, Trump's president. Oh, there's a pandemic. That kind of sucks. Oh, well, at least, I have adult money now. Oh, jokes, still can't afford a house. Well, I guess I'll just pursue my passions. But again, cringe. So I bet Ruggers. Ironically, private education tends to pump out far more conservative thinkers than liberal ones. I think that's because of the structures that you go into, right? And the people that you have to network with. To get ahead. Yeah, you really had to do a lot of thinking on your own, hey, Sanguinary. They are very much the Kevbo. I think travel was a part of it, trips across the border. Yeah. You know what? You're not wrong. It travel and life experiences and witnessing people living differently really puts into perspective like questioning your own reality, and your own biases, and like your own ideas of what is and isn't good and right. Like I would agree with that. I mean, I have been incredibly privileged to travel, so I definitely think it's a huge part of it. If you could travel to one country again to see more of it, what would it be? So it's got to be somewhere I've already been. I think I'd go back to Scotland. I don't know, guys. Castles and the color green. It's pretty. I don't know. It's pretty beautiful. I don't know. It's the only place that has ever really felt like home that isn't here. Like it's really weird. It's really weird. I visited lots of cities in Scotland and towns. I went everywhere. I went up to Orkney. For God's sake. No one goes to Orkney. I also think Switzerland, maybe. Or Austria. I think that is my favorite landscape. Nah, you haven't missed anything great. I think those are my favorite landscapes. Like very green, mountainous, very clear blue water, moderate climate, stunning. Like the desert doesn't feel like home to me. You know, some people feel at home in the desert. I don't feel at home in the desert. I don't feel at home on the beach either, really. Like tropical places don't really feel like home to me. Beautiful, but not with the like same, you know. I mean, the Sahara is just so unfathomably mindfucky. Like, you look out and it is just fucking sand. And also, if you're out there and you don't know where you are or where you're going, you're so fucked. And it is so hard to walk on sand. Like, I truly cannot imagine crossing that terrain alive. There's no way. Like Kevbo. I don't think I don't think I would come back to the US for a very long time. My friends invited me to go to Magic Con next year and I was like, I can't enter the country. Like the amount of anxiety I would have about being sent to fucking El Salvador is unhinged. Like I am not that important. And I'm going to be real. I don't think I've ever said anything that bad. But I don't think I'm doing that. You're important to chat. I think so. Sometimes. A studio. Not even for definitive proof at a roadside attraction that Bigfoot is real? Nah. Hi, Cam. Oh, cake for breakfast. Speaking of cake, candy. I don't want to hear it. It's my first lot today. I don't want to hear it. Well, I'm not almost out. There's still heaps in there. I agree, Vox. Like, it's not an unfounded fear. I'm not going to the US. Danger. Yeah, that Trier. Like, no one would care. Like, Evbo, you were trying really hard. I could tell. Oh my God, let me know if you do studio. That's very exciting. Are you going on a tour? Egypt is still on my list, but not until I'm an invisible woman. Ten-day cruise on the Nile? Oh, stop. Delightful. Windburn is such a interesting phenomenon. Studio, it's so funny. You're just like me. It's like before Scotland, I watched all the Scottish movies. And before Morocco, I watched Casablanca. Like, it's got to be done. I think that's one of the greatest parts of traveling is you just kind of like immerse yourself. You just immerse yourself in it. I know they have Morocco movies. I just, Casablanca was kind of iconic, you know? Like culturally, Morocco is a very interesting place, right? Like it's very interesting between like the French language, Arabic, um uh what are the names? What is the name of the people who live out in the Sahara? It starts with B, I think. It's on the tip of my tongue. Spain also had a presence there, yes, but that's not the Bedouin. No, the Berber people. That's who I was talking about. The Berber people. So interesting. Like in some ways it's multicultural, but it's also not. You know, when I look back, I think one of the most interesting parts of going to Morocco was going to an actual oasis and seeing how they work. Like it's just flat desert all around, and then there's just this valley, and it's a literal oasis. Like it's a valley, and there's palm trees and very tall buildings that have little narrow things to walk through so that they don't get too much sun during the day. I would like to go to China. I would like to go to China. I would like to see the Great Wall. I don't know. I find China very fascinating. I'm not gonna lie. Um, the history of some of the civilizations in that area is just wild. Do you recall the name of the area you visited? Could probably look on a map. Fuck, it was far away. Uh, yeah, it would have been Todga Gorge in Tinghia, or just outside of Tinghia. Look at the photos of that. In fact, I'll show you. You seeing what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? Like it's a literal oasis. Can you see? Like it's just this patch of green. And so no one is allowed to build houses. Like no one is allowed to build houses on the green. You're allowed to like everything is around it because it's so precious. So like that bit of, you know, plant life is just really looked after. And then this was the gorge. Not that you can really see it, but I walked along here. And there was a hike. I've probably got a photo. I didn't post all my photos because I feel like people just get bored of them. So I don't really post everything. When did I go again? January? February? January? February? When did I go? Honestly, the whole time I was there, it was winter. So it really wasn't too hot most of the time. Like there were still hot days, but it was winter, so I couldn't imagine going there during summer. I'm going to be real, probably a terrible idea. Where am I? Okay, I'm currently in Casablanca. It was towards the end. Yeah, here. Hey, Professor Fappington. Bye, Ruggers. Crazy. Hey. So, like, we had to hike up here. um, yeah, pretty cool, hey. Hey, Jess. You were a baby? Zap. It was literally the beginning of this year. How much have I aged? Jesus. 2025, hey? Rough. Trump aged you. I actually think it's because my hair was blonder. You were a baby in 2025, obviously. It's okay, guys. I'm aging. It's fine. Fast approaching my last fuckable day. Delightful. Oh, you haven't seen this skit? You look it up. I'm not putting it on stream. I will. It's weird. I think Sonoist. I do think yeah, no fucking shit. Wow. Andrew and Epstein with Maxwell and Weinstein. That's so crazy. Prince Andrews being a piece of shit. Wow, who could ever have foreseen this coming? That's crazy. It's in the Discord, in the news section, I guess. Straight out the BBC. Fucking hell. Look at this. Chat. Oh my. Prince Andrew hosted Epstein, Maxwell, and Weinstein at Royal Lodge. Prince Andrew hosted Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Harvey Weinstein at Royal Lodge, the publicly owned home where he effectively lives rent-free. The trio visited the Windsor mansion as part of his daughter Beatrice's masked ball 18th birthday celebrations in 2006, 2 months after a US arrest warrant had been issued for Epstein for the sexual assault of a minor. It had previously been reported that Epstein, Maxwell, and Weinstein visited Windsor Castle for the event, but not that they had been hosted at Andrew's private home. Andrew, who is facing increased scrutiny over his living arrangements in light of his relationship with Epstein, has not responded to a request for comment. It is understood that Epstein, Maxwell, and Weinstein visited Royal Lodge ahead of the main party, which took place in the staterooms of Windsor Castle and involved a champagne reception and banquet. Asked by BBC Newsnight in 2019 why he invited Epstein to his daughter's 18th birthday 2 months after the US arrest warrant was issued, Andrew said, "Certainly I wasn't aware when the investigation was issued what was going on in the United States, and I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it because he never said anything about it." Yeah, okay. Andrew relinquished his titles earlier this month amid renewed scrutiny of his links with Epstein following the posthumous publication of Virginia Giuffre's memoir. In the memoir, am I pronouncing Giuffre? I don't know how to pronounce her last name when reading it. She said she was forced to have sex with the prince on 3 separate occasions, including once with Epstein and 8 other young girls. Andrew, who reached a financial settlement with Miss Giuffre in 2022, has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. In 2019, he told BBC News site he did not remember meeting her at all and that they never had any sort of sexual contact. Oh, yeah, sure. His revelation that he has only ever paid a token annual rent on his Windsor mansion Royal Lodge has intensified the questions over his living arrangements. Epstein and Maxwell pictured at Balmoral in Scotland. Guthrie? Thanks, Fox. Holy shit. Look. It's fucking crazy. All of it is so crazy. You just know this guy was a professional blackmailer, right? It was like, you want to be in? Yeah, you can be in. Got to come to one of my parties. And then it's just blackmail. They truly thought they were untouchable. Oh, yeah. That's wild. Well, which castle did you go to? Scotland? I didn't go to Balmoral. You know, guys, go watch The Diplomat. Go watch The Diplomat. Not that like Epstein is addressed or anything in it like that. It's just I feel like it's a very good insight. Obviously it's fiction, but it's very good insight into the way these things would work. You know, one thing on the surface, 18 different things under the surface, never knowing who knows what, who's doing what agendas there are. Very interesting. Oh, I know, Will. I like your head today. Excellent work. Thanks. It's a lot easier now with my all-in-one tool. It really does take me less than 10 minutes. So that's really fun. I've actually taken to doing my hair and my makeup on the floor in front of a mirror. Like I put my blanket on the floor and then I just sit on the floor. I honestly think it is now my favorite way of getting ready, on the floor. That's what I mean. A tiny. Somebody on Twitter was like, no, we have to stick by America because America's a democracy. And I'm like, for how long? Like, that shit is going to be over soon. Well, now that Greet's here, we can start the video, but I'm not starting it until everyone gives me $5. I'm joking. That's democracy. Sort of. Will you adopt a chatter or two? What, when I'm rich? Maybe? Now? No.
Hi everyone, welcome to...
Okay. Oh, Will, anytime. I am joking every time. Trust me. There is a cost of living crisis. When I make jokes about money, please never take them seriously, especially because I do know. I do know.
to today's video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the findings from my research on female primary psychopaths. This is a way of sharing my findings without you having to read my massive PhD research. But you know what, if that's your thing, I will share a link at the bottom in the description of this video if you are interested in actually having a look at the full thesis that I wrote on this topic. So my PhD was called The Masked Prevalence and Cost of Working with Female Primary Psychopaths in the Community Services Sector. Now I did my PhD through Curtin University in Western Australia and I finished at the end of 2024 and graduated early 2025. But it wasn't an easy task to get to this point. I had to apply multiple times through lots of different universities, and the biggest problem I found with my research was that because I was actually being critical of women, I think most universities were uninterested in allowing me to do that. I mean, if I was doing a study on male psychopaths in the workplace, I'm pretty sure...
Jack, thanks for the raid. Welcome on in. We're doing a video on female psychopaths in the care sector. That's right. Today, women bad. Me, you, bad. Women bad. All right? Let it out, chat. It's your it's your one time. Hey, Distron.
Universities would have been lining up, but because I was talking about women, it was a real issue. They never actually said that outright, but I'm pretty sure that was the problem. And I know that because I had to keep changing the nature of my PhD. Some universities said I needed to do just general psychopaths in the workplace. I couldn't look at specifically women. Others said I needed to, I think it was the psychology department I applied through, said that I needed to look at resilience in the workplace rather than psychopathic behaviour. Someone else said I needed to look at the dark triad rather than just psychopaths, but also psychopaths, narcissists, Machiavellianism as well. But I was very defiant and I stuck with my guns. It took me 3 years to actually have my PhD accepted to a university, and like I said, that was with Curtin University in Western Australia, because I wanted to do the topic I wanted. I figured, because scholarships were very challenging to get, and I did almost get a scholarship at one stage, and then COVID hit and every man and his dog wanted to do a PhD, so it made it even much harder. So I decided I would just self-fund my PhD. I was really lucky to get a scholarship in the second year of my PhD because I had proven myself and proven the nature of my study and the importance of it. So it's something I'm very proud of. But I'd like to share with you how I got to this point. You know, anyone who does a PhD, you'll know that it has to be something you're passionate about.
Yeah, it's got to be a special interest.
Something that you really enjoy.
Because otherwise you cannot do the work.
I'd had a few bad experiences in the community services sector. I'd been speaking to other women in the sector because it was very much female dominated. 80% of the community services sector is female. And there were many other women that were having similar experiences to me that had been really traumatised by their experiences of how they'd been targeted by other women in the sector. So it got me thinking about this topic. One day I was travelling in Tasmania and I was listening to an audio book by a gentleman by the name of Kevin Dutton. It was called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. I'll show you the book. It's a fabulous book, absolutely fabulous book. So I was listening to it on an audio book. It was so good I had to go and buy the actual hard copy. And he was talking all about psychopaths, everyday psychopaths, people in business, people who you're in a relationship with, people who you're friends with. And I found this extremely fascinating because up until that point, I just thought psychopaths was the kind of people that, you know, committed mass murder. They weren't people that could exist in everyday life. So that was my real light bulb moment where I went, oh, that's
Not
the
Dutton
kind
the
of people I'm
politician,
working with.
no.
That's the kind of person I've been working with. It was a real turning point for me. And up until that point, I've been doing a PhD on public value in organisations. And I decided that I was no longer going to finish that. I'd already spent a few years on it and I went, you know what? I actually want to do something way more exciting. This is really, really boring. So let's talk about the study. So what I wanted to know, there was a few things I wanted to know. I wanted to know the prevalence of female primary psychopaths working in the community services sector. And I wanted to look at, could we determine how many there were out there? I wanted to know the impact, the overall impact on the workforce when there was a psychopath present. And I also wanted...
How do you get people to be honest about this though? Like, how do you get people to like how?
to know whether these female bullies in the workplace were that bad that they could actually be classed as psychopathic and whether they fit the psychopathic criteria. So the interesting thing is, in the end, I didn't actually determine the prevalence because that was way too hard to do, unless...
Pre-watched. I did psychology at university. I'm actually really smart. Lamo. I'm not. Guys, barely intellectual.
So I looked at specific cases and a specific organisation. That was the only way I was ever going to get prevalence. But what I did get was some really great information around the specific impact and the specific behaviours that people were witnessing in workplaces that was psychopathic. And it was actually really surprising for me how many of the people I interviewed worked with someone that fit that criteria. That was actually quite shocking for me. I didn't expect to find so many. I expected to find bullies and people that wanted to target others for whatever reason, but I certainly didn't expect to find as many as I did that fit the criteria. So the criteria that I used was the psychopathic management scale, which was created by Professor Clive Boddy and Associates, and he was actually one of my PhD supervisors, and it was really awesome to have him on my team. So it's a research version specifically for that purpose. It's not a psychological test. It's really just determining whether someone's behaviour in the workplace fits with the psychopathic criteria. So that was the criteria I used. Now my study looked at, I did a mixed method study, which for those who don't know what that is, that means I did both qualitative and quantitative data collection. So qualitative is when you actually speak to people, so that I did that through interviews, and the quantitative was the survey. So that's where you collect specific information through things like surveys, and you can quantify that data. I wanted to do both because I really wanted to be able to gather case studies that were very specific, where I could actually sit and have conversations with people and learn more about their experiences and how impactful it was. Because sometimes with a survey, you're only getting the information that you're asking for, whereas in an interview, face-to-face, you can actually ask those additional questions and get that additional information. So I found that the mixed method study was really, really useful, and the case studies of people that had experienced psychopathic behaviour were quite harrowing, and many of them said to me how it was really therapeutic for them to talk about their experience, because they hadn't really had the opportunity to talk about it. It was also really...
I don't want to pre-watch anything, right? But I just want to make some points. So, yes, the care sector is dominated by women. Yes, I think the care sector in general can sometimes attract people who are looking to exert dominance over other people in a not so altruistic way. I also think some people go into it because it's an easy work path, but I do think because there are a lot of hierarchies that aren't accessible to women, that in female-dominated workplaces, like in the care sector, sometimes the people who rise to management can be these kinds of people because they were looking for a playground on which to exert control. I don't think that is beyond the scope.
Heart-wrenching to see how many people who had worked with psychopathic females had been permanently damaged as a result of the behaviour that they had not only witnessed but been a part of and been targeted with. Most people had either left their job or been pushed out of their job as a result of that behaviour. Many of them were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements, so a lot of them couldn't talk about what happened to them.
Gifted a tier 1 sub to female psychopath.
Lol. So if it's at all levels then, that's interesting, because it suggests that people just go into it to not only maybe inflict power on each other within the organization, but because of the sector itself.
But because of the confidentiality of the study, they were able to talk to me. So in terms of analysing those case studies that were part of the interviews, what I did was what's called a thematic analysis. So if you're not familiar with what that is, it's where you take text, sometimes it might be focus groups or interviews, and you look through the content and come up with key themes that come out of that content. So where is there overlap between the different people that you've interviewed? So when I interviewed,
gifted a tier 1 sub to
I
the
ended up
Patria
interviewing, I
crew.
think, about 15 people. I came up with 4 key themes in the end, and I'm going to read those to you now. So the 4 key themes I came up with were primary psychopathic behaviour in females was often disguised behind relationships, friendships and victimhood. So this was a really interesting one. I found that a lot of people had female primary psychopaths, and I use the term primary because primary psychopaths are psychopaths that are everyday psychopaths. So people that can function day to day, they're less impulsive than what's called a secondary psychopath. So secondary psychopaths are more like the criminal psychopaths that may commit murder. Erin Patterson, who killed her family, she probably fits more into that category. They can be quite impulsive and less reserved, whereas a primary
Yeah.
psychopath can often lie in wait for a long period of time before their behaviour comes to light, and they're identified as someone that's a problem in the workplace. So in my interviews,
I'm going to be very real with you, Chad. I have engaged with a lot of primary psychopaths for sure.
found that many of these difficult, toxic women who fit the psychopathic criteria would develop really good relationships with people that meant they were safe within their role. So they might be, I know there was one case where the woman was best friends with the deputy CEO. There was another case where someone was fabulous friends with higher management so they could keep their job. And friendships, so there was one person I spoke to who, because I interviewed people in Tasmania, a very small place, they moved jobs because of a psychopath and found out they went from working for a psychopathic person who'd done quite a bit of damage to working for a friend of that person, not realising that was the case.
Well, see, this was my understanding as well. I didn't really know that primary psychopath was a term.
I can't give it
Lol.
up. Gifted a tier 1 sub to Psychopath Prime.
I can't give a duck, lol. Thank you. I thought the more common phrase used was like sociopath. Or these days, like when referring to people like this, I would often use just the term like narcissist or somebody exhibiting narcissistic behavior, because I don't exactly like to just go, that's a psychopath. Like it feels like a very stagnant label, and I do think that there are people who display narcissistic behavior who aren't exactly narcissists. If do you know what I mean?
Until they were already employed. The other thing is victimhood, and the reason I've included that in this criteria is that I found that many female psychopaths play the victim. So I'm the one that's being bullied. I'm the one that's the victim here. I'm the one that's been targeted. I've been misrepresented. I've been misinterpreted. So really pretending that they're not the problem, that they're actually the victim in the case, which makes it really hard. How do you discipline someone who thinks they're not the problem, who's not able to self-reflect, which is a big problem with psychopaths. They can't self-reflect. They don't have that empathy. It's always everybody else's fault. So often they would play the victim. And that's something women do a lot more than men. They move into that victim role because it's easy to do that and then not get into trouble. Nobody wants to yell at someone who's a victim. Nobody wants to criticise someone who is a victim. So the second theme that I came up with was that the target of the female primary psychopath, so the person actually being bullied by the psychopath in the workplace, their behaviour was psychologically, emotionally and professionally damaging. So they were impacted at 3 levels. So often people were emotionally unwell as a result of the behaviour. They were quite depressed, suicidal. They were crying in their car before they went to the office. They couldn't get out of bed of a weekend. They struggled to look after their children and maintain hobbies. They were emotional all the time. It didn't take much for them to become quite upset. And you would expect that from any kind of bullying behaviour. The added impact on top of that is that professional impact as well. So especially in Tasmania, it's a very small place. It's like a small country town. And if you have pissed off a psychopath in one organisation, especially in the community sector.
I feel like this is emotive language. Like a psychopath is just, I don't know. I'll keep listening.
It doesn't take much for that person to make sure that other people in the sector know. And I spoke to a number of people who said they would never work in Tasmania again in this sector. And that was really quite sad because it's although there was this extra power that was held in Tasmania around manipulating that sector to a big degree. So yeah, that was really sad because I know a lot of people have had to move interstate, not able to work here anymore as a result. The third criteria was the female primary psychopath used behaviours that including treating others with disdain, being judgmental, and responding with a lack of empathy. So these are all criteria that psychopaths do use. They use disdain, they use judgment, they are unempathetic. So I know a number of people I spoke to talked about having a psychopathic manager who would deny them leave to attend family events, important events like weddings and funerals, deny them leave for important occasions that they wanted to be a part of. And often there was no reason behind that, no logical reason. It was just simply that the female psychopath wanted to exert their control over a person they didn't like or they were jealous of. And that was really common amongst the participants. The participants I spoke to weren't just women as well. I spoke to men and women who'd experienced working with a female psychopath. So the fourth theme that I came up with from the interviews was that female primary psychopathic behaviour included dishonesty, relational aggression, manipulation and gaslighting. So these are some really key traits of a psychopath. You know, the lying is a big one, being really dishonest. Relational aggression is the use of social isolation and social damage, so gossip, rumours, you know, after work drinks but you're not invited, that kind of thing. Spreading rumours and things that are not true, that's also relational aggression. And future videos will cover some of this stuff in more detail. Manipulation, obviously manipulating the situation, and also gaslighting. So, oh no, I didn't say that. I know what you're talking about. Making you feel like the idiot. And that's really common as well. So these were the four key themes that came out of those interviews. So I then used those interviews and those findings from that to then inform the survey. So in the survey, I looked at relational aggression, I looked at psychopathic criteria, we also looked at job satisfaction and also the psychopathic level of the actual participant completing the survey. So I want to point out that when I did the survey, when I did the interviews and when I recruited participants, I didn't actually use the term psychopath. I used the term difficult or toxic. I think I used toxic with the interviews, but I used difficult colleague with the survey because I didn't want to sway people's opinion. As we all know, if someone pisses us off enough, we're going to call them names. We're going to think much worse of them than they actually are. And that's really common human behaviour. So I really didn't want to sway people. I didn't want them to fully...
Now, obviously, you didn't want to sway people, but this could have swayed people in another way, thinking they were just describing less serious behavior than they were. It's interesting.
Understand what the study was about because I wanted them to be a little bit objective about how they rated people on the scale. So the scales weren't identifiable to the survey participants and also to the people doing the interview who also were given the criteria for the psychopath. For the interviews, I did actually tell them at the end of the interview what I was actually studying just to get information, but I didn't tell them until they were completed the standard questions. I will say that speaking to the interviewees, you know, although it was very therapeutic for them, I felt really privileged that many of these people were willing to tell me their stories, and their stories that were really...
I have no doubt that this sector of work, there is a lot of toxicity that exists in it. I have no doubt, but it probably the same as it is every sector.
I can't give it up. Gifted a tier 1 sub to Fiona.
I feel like all the victim mentality that the right wing engages in has heavily driven out the impulse to not criticize someone who is playing the victim. Everyone's a victim. It's the way society engages now. You don't really get to speak unless you are a victim. In a lot of those circumstances, that's what's really hard. Being a victim is both rewarded by society and provides you a shield to a certain point. It's why the minute I realize somebody is incapable of self-reflection, I'm like, no, you are not for me. No, no.
Harrowing that had affected them so much personally and professionally. And, you know, it was nice to actually hear from many participants how helpful it was for them to talk about it and to help them feel like they weren't the problem. And I think that was really important. And that was certainly something I'll always take away from this study, that I was able to, although I was collecting data for a study, I really felt like I helped people by just allowing them to share their story and have someone listen and understand what was going on for them. So like I said, after I did the interviews, I did the survey, and that was really, really interesting as well. And similar things kind of came out of that. So there was a real lack of ability of organisations to actually deal with bad behaviour in the workplace. And that was something that came out across both the interviews and the survey. You know, people were really disheartened by organisations and often left as a result, because they just felt like the more they tried to complain, the more they became the problem. And I think that's a real big issue when you're working with a psychopath, is that they're able to remain calm while you become escalated. And that's a massive problem, because, you know, you're becoming reactive. So you then become the bully, you then become the problem. And from an organisational perspective, they can actually visually see the behaviour that you're doing that needs to be dealt with. Whereas a psychopath will remain calm, they keep their behaviour quite hidden, and certainly female psychopaths are a lot more covert than male psychopaths. So it's really hard to pinpoint things like relational aggression and target that to a point where it can be performance managed, or you can deal with the psychopath. So often it was the victim that would end up leaving or end up being disciplined, which is a huge issue. So one of the interesting things that I think surprised a lot of people was me wanting to actually look at female psychopaths in a helping profession. And it surprised me too when I started to really look at this topic much closer, even before I started, was that how much of a problem it was. And the thing that puzzled me the most was, why would someone who doesn't care about others, who doesn't hold that level of empathy that's needed in a community organisation, so social workers, psychologists, counsellors, that kind of thing,
yeah,
why
I see that.
would they be psychopathic? It didn't make any sense to me. And as time went on during my study, I came to understand that it was actually way more obvious than I expected it to be. And there have been studies done around this, that often you'll find that
It's done in this industry all the time. I see it all the time. It's so frustrating. I honestly, it's the way most of the upper echelons of like streamer and YouTuber culture work. Everybody just takes turn at being a better victim. It's exhausting.
females, whereas a male psychopath might move into something like a corporate sector where they can, you know, commit fraudulent behaviour within a corporate structure, a female psychopath is more likely to move into a helping profession where their level of control is control over resources, control over people. So you think about a community organisation that provides, say, financial assistance, housing assistance, or even therapy, talk therapy. The level of control that the worker has in the wrong hands could easily allow someone to feel powerful, having control over someone's emotional and financial and physical resources that they need to survive. So I like to use the analogy of the firefighter that might start a fire, and we've all heard about that happening before. Not all firefighters, you know, it's
Not all firefighters, but yeah, it's really common. Firefighters starting fires so they get to go and be a hero. It's a huge issue. You'd be surprised. Plus, when you're an outcast and isolated, the prolonged stress from that makes emotional self-regulation more difficult. Correct. I really like, you can get hurt to a point where your own behaviors become so toxic that no one will give you a chance. because they're like, that's too hard for me. I can't deal with that. It's the same if you're depressed, right? And your depression is like too heavy for some people. They'll be like, not here. I can't handle that. And so once you have maladaptive behaviors, it is really difficult to get people to give you a chance.
Not everybody. Let's leave the hate out of the comments. A firefighter who starts a fire to then rush in and save people. There's this real heroism aspect to it, that they start the fire so then they can be the hero. There's a case of a woman by the name of Lucy Letby in the UK who killed multiple premature babies, and then once she had done that, she was able to then insert herself into the family to help them, to be there for them as a supporter. And it's believed that that's why she did it, so she could actually comfort them in their time of grief.
Jesus.
Which is quite sickening when you think about it.
That is.
So one of the other things that I looked at in the survey in particular was the relationship that the female psychopath had to the individual they were targeting. So the person that participated in the survey and the individual they were targeting. What I found was really, really interesting, because you hear a lot about psychopaths, psychopathic managers and CEOs and how they target their subordinates. What I found with women, though, was that they didn't care whether it was their manager, their subordinate or their peer, that there was an actual equal divide between the three groups. So although what I expected to find was that it was the managers that would target the subordinates, that wasn't the case, that as many people were targeted by their manager as they were targeted by a direct peer or a subordinate themselves, because that was also happening, that people were being targeted up. So someone that a manager might manage, they were actually using their behaviour to target their own manager and bully their own manager.
So it's all over the place. It's just people treating people awfully all over the place. Yeah.
And this is not something we see in men. Men are more likely to target from a position of power. So as a CEO or a manager, they're more likely to target down, so to their subordinates, whereas that was not the case for women. And I think because women see power differently, I think women see power in other women in different ways. I think women, I'm a woman myself, I understand, I get it. You know, we might judge other women in a way that it might be about how they look, how they dress, the qualifications they have. I mean, I've worked in places before where I've been overqualified for a position and there's a real sense of jealousy there. So often people might try and talk down to you to make you reduce your self-esteem to make themselves feel better. And that's often something that you see in women a lot more than you do in men. And that's because women value those personal relationships more than men do. Men are less likely to care if someone starts ignoring them at work. Men are more likely to go, oh, I just don't give a shit, I'm just here to do my job. So women are more likely to use relationships in the workplace to manipulate things. I remember one of the interview participants telling me that they saw a male in the workplace that had started being targeted by the female psychopath, and now he had made himself useless to the psychopath. He no longer had resources she needed, and he distanced himself from her and was quite able to do that, and therefore stopped being a target of her behaviour. And I think this is way easier for men to do in the workplace when they're being targeted by a woman than it is for women. Because if a woman is rejected by another woman, it's way more hurtful than when they are rejected by a friendship from a man. So just something to keep in mind. So the other thing that's really...
Maybe. It's almost like people are shit. We're good to our in-groups and shit to our out-groups. Our in-groups are shrinking. I mean, our in-groups are non-existent. I definitely thought people were better when I was younger. I'm not sure about this research. Yeah, yeah. Look, I have thoughts.
key when it comes to...
I do think that a lot of what she's saying is on the money.
female conflict is relational aggression. So relational aggression is very much about affecting someone's social standing,
I feel like it's obviously something really personal to this woman as well.
using
Story, you
gossip
don't
and
have to
rumours
apologise.
to reduce someone's value socially. It's often been called a female behaviour. And if you search relational aggression, often it's all about mean girls and queen bees and along those lines. But it's also been studied that it is often one of the signs of psychopathy in the workplace from women. They'll use things like relational aggression, whereas many of studies said that men don't use that same approach. So that was certainly something I found. The women were using a lot of relational aggression, and even if they didn't fit the psychopathic criteria, they certainly, if they were bullying, they certainly fit the relational aggression criteria as a means of targeting other women. The interesting thing that did come out of the study was that the male psychopaths that I did find in the sector, they also used relational aggression, which is not what I expected to find. So my thinking around that, given it's a survey, I couldn't actually ask more detail. My thinking is that a psychopath, what they'll do is they'll get to know someone and they'll get to know your weaknesses. And they'll use whatever weaknesses they can find to target you. So my thinking is a male psychopath in a female
Yes.
dominated industry like the community services sector would use relational aggression, because if they're targeting and to target a woman, I didn't find any
Or maybe the care sector is in general more appealing to men who consider like workplace relationships more important. Like maybe the care sector attracts a certain kind of man as well. Human hierarchies are so interesting. Like workplace drama is wild.
male to male psychopaths in my study, but I did find males who targeted females as well. It wasn't many, and that's because of the female-dominated industry. There aren't a lot of men in that industry, but those that did use relational aggression. And my thinking is that they saw that as a weakness for their target. They knew that using relational aggression on a female target would have the biggest impact, so that's why they used it. So although it's often seen as a female behaviour, it's often seen as a female use of aggression rather than physical aggression, I think that a male primary psychopath would also use it, knowing that it can be extremely damaging to a female target. So that was a really interesting point, and I'd really love to look at that more. It was a very small sample of male psychopaths that I found in my study because, like I said, it was a female-dominated industry, but it's certainly an interesting thought that I'd like to look at much further. But like I said, I believe that comes down to male psychopaths choosing the most damaging behaviour to target a woman. So one of the other things I looked at was job satisfaction. I'm not going to go into great detail on that, only because it is well known that psychopaths in the workplace, if there's a psychopath in the workplace, you'll often find lower levels of job satisfaction. Less psychopathic behaviour, you'll find higher levels of job satisfaction. So that was just another way of testing the situation in the workplace. Yeah, so there was some really interesting findings that came out of what I studied, and just hearing people's stories. I am hoping to write a book on my PhD findings. I'm not sure when that'll be out. I keep writing it and then coming back to it later. So
Okay. Yes and no. I agree with the top comment. The reason for a large number of psychopaths in the caring professions is the supply of vulnerable people. And then obviously that is what results in the toxic workplace environment. Like the industry itself attracts a lot of people like that. How does the psychopaths experience their job satisfaction? What did you Google? I The use of the word psychopath is interesting. Curtin University is also interesting. Google her thoughts on domestic violence. Oh God, can you just link it? It a university lecturer who teaches Tasmanian police recruits about domestic violence will not be involved in police training courses, while comments she made in an interview with controversial men's rights commentator Bettina Arndt are reviewed. In the video published online last week, Fiona Gherkin says police are seeing just as many women as they are men in domestic violence situations as the perpetrator. Dr. Gherkin is an associate lecturer in policing and emergency management at the University of Tasmania and a former service manager of Launceston Sexual Assault Support Service. In the video titled Tasmanian Police Resist Feminist Weaponization of DV Laws, she nods along as Miss Arndt explains that Dr. Gherkin originally approached her saying she'd be interested in talking about her teaching role. You thank me for being willing to protect men from women who seek to destroy their lives, Miss Arndt says. Bettina Arndt was condemned for her comments following the murder of Hannah Clark and her 3 children in 2020, and has also been criticized for her sympathetic interview with a twice convicted pedophile. In the interview with Dr. Gherkin, Miss Arndt says you do teach them, police, about the international research showing most violent homes, most males and females are violent, and women often instigate violence. Miss Arndt continues, the data is well and truly out there, to which Dr. Gherkin nods and says, What I'm hearing from police that have been around for a long time is that they're seeing just as many women as they are men in domestic violence situations as the perpetrator. I don't think the research says that. It is a misrepresentation of what we know from evidence from data and research about the causes and impacts of family and sexual violence in the community. When people are entering into that conversation who have a very alternative perspective to what the evidence is demonstrating, it detracts from the severity of the reality and the impacts of that. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 1,582 offenders were proceeded against for a family or domestic violence related offence in Tasmania last financial year, and 81% of those were male. The ABS states that male family and domestic violence offender rate was about 4 times higher than the female offender rate, with 505 male offenders per 100,000, compared with 117 female offenders per 100,000. So it's inconsistent with police reporting. It's also inconsistent with the Chief Justice of the Federal and Family Court of Australia's Lighthouse Project. You know what really made me uncomfortable in the video? When she was like, I'm a female, I get it. I don't know. Um, She kind of reminds me of someone who would say, I just want to be friends with men. They're so much easier than women. They're just they're just easier to be friends with than women. I Yeah, it seemed to be her PhD was obviously shopped around with a very specific intention. Obviously, and sometimes if you go looking for something, you are going to find what you want to find. The reality is, I agree with her research in a lot of cases. That is, people with narcissistic personality traits do go into the care sector because it allows them to inflict power on vulnerable people in a world where they feel they're boring and they have no other way to feel powerful. Um, so I do agree with that. I do also agree that within the workplace, there are always going to be cases of bullying, relational abuse, dysfunction. Um, no, doomshine, 100%. You should see what happens in this fucking industry. Do you know how comfortable you have to get with people misconstruing or perceiving you in a certain way through somebody else's fucking vocal lens? You have to get really fucking used to it and hope that your actions over time speak for themselves. Because, like, there are people in this industry who are exactly like that. And sure, maybe you expect it in streaming a little bit more, but it happens in nursing. It definitely it happens in every industry. I just think sometimes truly people are boring and they have no better way to entertain themselves. And like I feel like a lot of people don't sit with their own company long enough to make being by themselves interesting. And so they fill it with all sorts of boring shit. That being said, I do think I'm not anti gossip. That's my hottest take. I'm not anti gossip. But like it's not I'm anti shit talk, but I'm not anti gossip. I think you can speak kindly about people behind their backs. I think you can talk about the world. I think gossip in itself is kind of demonized in a way. That being said, I keep to myself a lot. You know, I speak to my mom. Like what, great? I I don't know if I really liked that video, and I definitely don't like the author. I don't know. Also, I do think the language used in that PhD is quite interesting as well. Because I'm not sure if the psychopath scale is the correct one. It was one study in one environment. It was. Yeah. So obviously the amount of data in the study was somewhat limited as well. Gerodimus. Lol. I don't think any of my exes would refer to me as a psychopath. There's maybe a couple of women who would. But again, they would be deflecting. Oh, 100% Trier. You just know. I know. I know if I say something to my mum, it's going to my sisters. My sisters know. If I say something to my sisters, it's most likely going to my mum. Almost 100%. Yeah, I mean, psychology has a lot of issues. Remember, we psychology has a full replication crisis for a multitude of reasons. What side of a relationship do you think is more ready to say hurtful shit during a fight? I think women can be extremely cutting with their words. I have met women who have been extremely cutting with their words. The advice my dad gave me when growing up is never say anything you can't take back, and I don't think I ever have. Like I have never purposely said something. Like there are times that I've wanted to say something pretty harmful, I think. True. But probably harmful, and I just haven't. But I do think women can be quite cutting with their words, but men can be incredibly violent. So, yeah. What brand of candy? They're called Bubs out of Sweden. Yeah, I know, Shreya. And I think a lot of people feel that way about Stream Chat. Because, like, who's gonna go around and say anything? I have absolutely formulated deep cuts in my head, but you have to stop there. You don't really get anything from being horrible to other people. Same. I couldn't live with myself, actually. Like I've said some harsh things, but I would never say anything. Like the worst thing I do is when a troll comes in here and I'm like, one day when you're off the internet, you might be in the loving arms of a woman. And just as you're about to come, you'll think of how cringe you were in this moment. That's probably the most evil thing that I do. And I probably will continue to do it. And if that is the most evil that I am, I think that's fine. But, like, I would never, ever say anything like that to a person. Like, actually cutting words to, like, a partner or something. It's actually how one of my friendships ended historically. I saw messages of a woman speaking about me in a way that was cutting. And I knew she could do this about other people, but I didn't realize she would do it about me. And it blatantly untrue. So you don't realize until it happens, I guess. Like, if I am speaking about somebody and they're not in the room, I'm either speaking about them positively or with concern. And if I'm speaking to someone's face and I have to be honest, I am using my honesty, but with empathy, because honesty without empathy is just brutality and it's wrong. That's what I do, Trier. Imagine having to think of the streamer that eviscerated you and then I don't know. Feeling too cringe to come. The ultimate revenge. Okay, I'm a little evil, all right? They were evil to me first, though. Tasty. You're shit, and I hate you. Do better. Yeah. Honesty without empathy is brutality, and empathy without honesty is manipulation. Did you guys see that I made my own strawberry matcha today? From fresh strawberries that I cooked down with sugar in a pan. Then I put ice cubes and almond milk, and then I didn't have a whisk for the matcha, so I shook it in a jar. And then I put the matcha over the top. And it's good. I'll be able to make it every day now. I've really gotten over the hurdle. And I don't even have to leave the house. It's so exciting. I love that for me. But it was, the matcha was $20, but that will get me a lot of them. The thing, I used fresh strawberries today. I used half a punnet, so I've got half a punnet for tomorrow, and then I'm going to try with frozen strawberries. And if the frozen strawberries work just as well, then we're off to the fucking races, because you can just keep frozen strawberries forever in the freezer, cook them down with a little bit of sugar, and Bob's your uncle. Oh, I posted it on my Instagram story. Tasty. I think I could make it better. Tomorrow, I think I can do it better tomorrow. Yeah, I get to experiment, you know. I'll experiment with the better way to do it. I need to buy myself a little whisk. Like one of those little do you know what I mean? Like the little Japanese whisks or whatever that you use, because I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to put metal into matcha for some reason. I don't know what it is, but you're supposed to use bamboo. Don't know why. Again, maybe I need to educate myself. I also, do you know what else I did today? I repotted my propagated plants. So I have 2 new plants that will now grow. Put them in the soil. Watered them up. And then honestly, I could go get another bag of soil tomorrow, because I have a couple of other ones that could really use some planting too. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow, but I'm taking my friend to get her wisdom teeth out in the morning. Because her boyfriend has something to do. I can't remember what, but she was like, "Will you drive me?" And I was like, "I'll drive you. That's not a problem." The not a butt plug thing to try it. Right, I see. Have I seen how it looks? I've forgotten. Oh, that'll be fun, Zap. Oh, I see. Oh, that's definitely not a butt plug. I mean, when you know, you know. When you know, you know. Kuba, that's terrible. Chat, I'm singing because I'd like to finish early because I'd like to actually spend time cooking myself dinner, and I already worked for 3 hours this morning getting that YouTube video up. So I don't want to sit at my desk anymore. So requests are open if anybody wants them. If not, I'm going to go cook some food. I wonder how many people have been to hospital because of that. So many. So many. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of emergency room situations, which is like stuff up the butt stuff. We have DST'd. So is it really early now or late for you guys? I fell on my matcha kit. It's early. It feels early for me. That's probably why it's been so quiet at the start of streams the last couple of days. That makes sense.
Pumping iron by the gay trains.
Oh my god. Gay Elephant, I swear to God, your obsession with this song is crazy. Well, I need to shut the door. Let me get the rest of my fucking wine.
Gorgeous.
You know, I really did sip this over 3 days. Good for me. Look, the chat loves it, and I know you won't sing it for free. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't sing it for free. You are 100% correct. That's not a thing that's happening. Also, thanks, Anon. I would love to sing Gorgeous. So you're only at trad wife levels of alcoholism as opposed to professional chef? I mean, I don't know. I just feel really healthy digestally. That's not even a word, but I feel like digestively healthy right now. And the days have been really good. And I don't know, it's just been this, it's nice for a minute, you know? It's Greaseball! It's Greaseball the Diesel! She's on the champion! She's number one! Back off, girl. She's mine. Here comes the diesel train with its steel refrain. Hear me knocking. The diesel's on its way. It's gonna win the day. Hear me knocking. Listen to the chatter of the diesel force, generating 2,700 horse. Camshaft rolling while the rock is a rock. Hit me not. See my hustle, feel my muscle, pumping iron. Trying to build my body, trying to lose my mind. See me straining, I'm in training, pumping iron. I'm a diesel engine. I'm knocking, I'm knocking, I'm knocking. I'm pumping iron. Well, she's the one they'll choose. You know she just can't lose. Hear her knocking. There ain't another rig that's even half as big. Hear me knocking. Everybody's gonna say that train is smart. The mighty diesel engine is a work of art. Undisputed leader of the rolling stock. Now see me rock. Vegas, thanks for the 37 months. Can you believe you subscribed to this? Me neither. See my hustle, feel my muscle, pumping iron, stretching my bulwarker, heaving on my weights. See me flex my delts and pecs, I'm pumping iron. I'm a diesel engine. I'm knocking, I'm knocking, I'm knocking, oh hear me knocking. Heading for the rally, gonna win the first race. Gonna run the longest, the biggest and the strongest. I'm knocking, I said I'm knocking. Just hear me knock. I'm so pretty. Pumping iron. I swear to God. Sam and I would love to sing Lazy Eye again. I was joking about this. I've googled it and it actually is a Thomas the Tank Engine fanfic. Yes. Yes, it is. I'm glad I hung around for that. This one. That's unique of you. You should take it as a compliment that I got drunk and made fun of the way you talk. I don't want to sing this with a guide melody, cause that's gross. No. 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 See, that's annoying. There's no other track. Or maybe here. You should take it as a compliment that I got drunk and made fun of the way you talk. You should think about the consequence of your magnetic field being a little too strong. And I got a boyfriend, he's older than us. He's in the club doing I don't know what. You're so cool, it makes me hate you so much. I hate you so much. Whiskey on ice, sunset and vine. You've ruined my life by not being mine. You're so gorgeous, I can't say anything to your face. 'Cause look at your face. And I'm so furious at you for making me feel this way. But what can I say? You're gorgeous. You should take it as a compliment that I'm talking to everyone here but you. But you. And you should think about the consequence of you touching my hand in the darkened room. Dark room. Yeah, if you got a girlfriend, I'm jealous of her. But if you're single, that's honestly worse. 'Cause you're so gorgeous, it actually hurts. Ocean blue eyes, looking in mine. I feel like I might sink and drown and die. You're so gorgeous, I can't say anything to your face. 'Cause look at your face. And I'm so furious at you for making me feel this way. But what can I say? You're gorgeous, you make me so happy it turns back to sad. There's nothing I hate more than what I can't have. You are so gorgeous, it makes me so mad. You make me so happy it turns back to sad. There's nothing I hate more than what I can have. Guess I just stumble on home to my cats. Alone? Unless you wanna come along. You're so gorgeous, I can't say anything to your face. 'Cause look at your face. And I'm so furious at you for making me feel this way. But what can I say? You're gorgeous, you make me so happy it turns back to sad. There's nothing I hate more than what I can have. You are so gorgeous, it makes me so mad. You're gorgeous, you make me so happy it turns back to sad. There's nothing I hate more than what I can have. You are so gorgeous, it makes me so mad. You're gorgeous. Let's see what I remember without a practice, shall we? You might get something real weird. Salmon. I've been waiting for this moment all my life, but it's not quite right. And this real
It's impossible, if possible, it proves blind word. So clear, it's so unheard. I've been waiting for the silence all night long. It's just a matter of time to appear sad with the same old decent lazy eye fixed to rest on you. Ain't free and so untrue. Everyone so intimately rearranged. Everyone so focused clearly with such shine. Everyone so intimately rearranged. Everyone so focused clearly with sunshine. Lost and loaded, still the same old decent lazy eye straight through your gaze. That's why I said I relate. I said we relate. It's so fun to relate. It's the room, the sun, and the sky. The room, the sun, and the sky. I've been waiting for this moment.
Thanks, Salmon.
The Groundhog Ballad.
I would love to sing that one. You don't know this one? Okay, well, there's no, I have to do all the parts still because no one's sung it yet. You can have the fame, Phyllis. I give up all the fame. You can have the overbearing stares, the noisy crowds, the holy shadow, and the shame, Phyllis. But don't pretend you want this. Don't be so naive. Gonna say these words again and again. It's the boy bit. They always believed, and I guess that I'm just like the rest. Why must you leave? Well, we can all live, for I sure was never as blessed. Nothing's supposed to live forever, Phyllis. Nothing's supposed to last that long. The burrows we made will eventually fade, and I'll be left to sing the same old song. But if nothing's supposed to live forever, Phyllis, why am I the one who's cursed to see the sprout begin to spawn, till the things I know are gone, till everyone moves on? But hold me, Phyllis. Hold me like an apricot. You watched my fur turn gray. How many times have you had to say goodbye? Nothing's supposed to live forever. Nothing's supposed to last that long. That's what they say, Phil, that it all goes away, Phil. But something deep inside me knows they're wrong. If nothing's supposed to live forever, I'll give you a part of me. I guarantee you'll find in the winters and the springs, in the song your shadow sings. Forever is the things I leave behind. You'll see me in their smile, and their claws will make you take pause, and maybe the burrows we made will come back to your mind. Back when we weren't afraid of the sun would set and let us leave the world behind. Are the ones who are ever truly gone, when you're holding on to who you leave behind, who you leave behind. I can see forever just by looking in your eyes. That's the thing with love, it multiplies and multiplies, and nothing's supposed to live forever. But the
tighter you hold me, the more that can be true. And the sprout begins to spawn, and the things I know are gone, till everyone moves on but us two. 'Cause nothing's supposed to live forever. Nothing's supposed to live forever without you.
That obviously sounds better as a duet. And if one of the boys ever records it, I will sing it with them. Hi, Blue. Anybody else? Welcome. No, that's groundhogs. I mean, that's hedgehog. No, it's groundhogs. Not hedgehogs. Groundhogs. I just love that one so much. It's just so pretty. Blue hedgehog? Do we need to give you small brown marble songs? You don't have to. No. No, you do not. Chat, would you want to be a model?
Woes Culwood boy please.
Gonna have to learn it again.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair, send in the cloud. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps staring around, one who can't move. Where are the clouds? Send in the clouds. Just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, and making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my line, no one is there. Don't you love farce? My fault I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. Where are the clowns? Quick, send in the clowns. Don't bother. They're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this late in my career. And where are the clowns? maybe next year. Joke.
Do you know what I've realized? I probably saw Paramore the last time they'll ever perform. Like, we're not getting another Paramore tour, are we? By you. It's a breaking. It was a raging on. Taking my glasses off. Turning it into a joke. Empty girl, make me laugh all. Make me cry a little bit longer. Then go smile. I don't want to. And they all can't be like you. All rose-colored too. Rose-colored boy. They were in the car. I'm in the car now. Really lights on. All right, let's see what I get this time. Rose-colored. Hold on. It's so fucking high. Rose-colored boy, are you making all that noise about the world you want to see? And oh, I'm so annoyed, 'cause I just killed off what was left, the optimist in me. But hearts are breaking, was a raging on. And I have taken my glasses off. You got me nervous. I'm right at the end of my rope. A half-empty girl. Don't make me laugh, I'll choke. Just let me cry a little bit longer. I ain't gonna smile if I don't want to. Hey man, we all can't be like you. I wish we were all rose-colored too, my rose-colored boy. I want you to stop insisting that I'm not a lost cause, 'cause I've been through a lot, and really all I've got is
it's just to stay pissed off if it's alright by you. But hard to break it, the walls are raging on, and I have taken my glasses off. You got me nervous, and you're turning it into a joke. A half-empty girl, don't make me laugh out. Just let me cry a little bit longer. I ain't gonna smile if I don't want to. Hey man, we all can be like you. I wish we were all rose-colored too, my rose-colored boy. Let me a little bit longer. I think I wanna stay in the car. I don't want anybody seeing me cry now. You say we gotta look on the bright side. You say maybe, well, if we're gonna go blind. But the boy ain't in my mind. Cry a little bit longer. I ain't gonna smile if I don't want to. Hey man, we all can be like you. I wish we're all rose-colored too. Just let me cry a little bit longer. I ain't gonna smile if I don't want to. I know we all can be like you. I wish we're all rose-colored too, my rose-colored boy. No pressure, just hang me and my weather.
I hope it was alright. It's hard. I'll get better and better every time. I do think the pacing is throwing me a little bit.
Heaven is a place on earth.
Yeah, it's just syncopatically hard, just full stop, if that makes sense.
Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Stay in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Heaven is a place on earth. When the night falls down, I wait for you and you come around, and the world's alive. Sound of the kids on the street outside. When you walk into the room, you pull me close and we start to move, and we're spinning with the stars above. You lift me up in a wave of love. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Stay in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. When I feel alone, I reach for you and you bring me hope. When I'm lost at sea, I hear your voice and it carries me. In this world we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore. Baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, a place on earth. Heaven, heaven, oh. Heaven, oh. In this world we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore.
I can't sing this key change tonight.
Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Say in heaven, love comes first. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Oh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, heaven, and what am I reading? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
Evan, what the fuck? You with the butt plug in your heart clapping? I hope you're having fun. It's not weird at all.
The other woman has time to manicure her nails. The other woman is perfect where her rival fails, and she's never seen with pin curls in her hair. Anywhere, the other woman enchants her clothes with French perfume. The other woman keeps fresh cut flowers in each room, and there are never toys that's scattered everywhere. When her old man comes to call, he finds her waiting like a lonesome queen, 'cause to be by her side, it's such a change from old routine. But the other woman will always cry herself to sleep. The other woman will never have his love to keep, and as the years go by, the other woman will spend her life alone.
Pixel singing Sister Sledge. Yeah. Look, it's not my fault the occasional pick-me song is delightful. What do you want from me? I'm sorry. Sometimes the bitchy women have written banger after banger. You know? She's better known for the things that she does on the mattress. Whoa! Oh, Taylor Swift was so pick me back in the day. It was glorious. And homophobic. Well, maybe not homophobic, but she did say, you know, that's fine. I'll tell my friends you're gay. Same brain cell. One more, and then I'm leaving. Step one, you say we need to talk. He walks, you say sit down, it's just a talk. He smiles politely back at you. You stare politely right on through some sort of window to your right. As he goes left and you stay right between the lines of fear and blame. You begin to wonder why you came. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I would have stayed up with you all night had I known how to save a life. Let him know that you know best, 'cause after all, you do know best. Try to slip past his defense without granting innocence. Lay down a list of what is wrong, the things you've told him all along, and pray to God he hears you. And I pray to God he hears you. And where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I would have stayed up with you all night had I known how to save a life. As he begins to raise his voice, you lower yours, grant him one last choice. Drive until you lose the road, or break with the ones you follow. He will do one of two things. He will admit to everything, or he'll say he's just not the same, and you'll begin to wonder why you came. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I
to save a life.
Yeah, I'm not putting any stock in the video we watched tonight, folks. The language used, the way it's explained, it was all very targeted. I think there's better research out there that exists surrounding psychopathy, workplace dynamics. It just felt like this woman really wanted to be able to write something saying how many female psychopaths there were. I did not crack into the Moon show last night. I was so tired. I fell asleep on the couch, and then I knew I had to take Pixel out to do a wee. So I took her out to do a wee and then came back in and then got into bed and I passed out. Plot twist at the end, she was the psychopath all along, probably. Personally, I'm waiting for the study on top Twitch streamers. Tell you what, I won't be doing that. That sounds like fucking hell. I wonder what a psychologist would say about me after watching all my content. Do you reckon they'd be like, she's fucking crazy? What a narcissistic, insecure bitch. What do you mean? This is a 100% drama-free platform. Is it? Is it really? How to save a life. Let's just feed all your content into ChatGPT and ask it. I mean, I'm sure someone's fucking doing that as we speak. Like, there is so much. Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. Chat, you either die a Twitch streamer or live long enough to get cancelled. Trust me. It's coming. You know, as much as I fucking hate Jordan Peterson, he said something along the lines of like, on the internet, you will be held to further and further impossible standards. And we see it happening now with Cutie and Vanilla. Like, Vanilla is in a progressive space, held to an impossible standard by a progressive community. It's unachievable. It's unmaintainable. And I don't know what these fucking people want. It is it's so fucked up. Everyone's just as bad as one another. And I'm not equating the right with the left, but fuck, man. It is extremely frustrating. Yeah, it's just dead. Like, oh yeah, the Liberals taking 8K a month from the fucking Democrats. I wish I was taking 8K a month from the Democrats. You know, if I was taking 8K a month from anyone, I'd have a house deposit in a year. Anyone? I will do your propaganda. Blue, you got 8K for me? I'll do Taylor Swift propaganda for 8K a month. Thoughts? No, there are people Evan, I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning of stream, the reason I was not in a good mood is because there are people who aren't good people. Like, they continually push boundaries and it's so fucking annoying. And then they act fine in chat. It's so annoying. I swear to God. But whatever. I'd love to hear your voice 90s tunes. Are you going to subscribe if I sing you a 90s song? I did say the other song was my last one. But I'll sing you one song from the 90s. I wonder if you'll know it. No, I know the song I'm picking. Questions that I need to know. How you could ever hurt me so. I need to know what I've done wrong and how long it's been going on. Was it that I never paid enough attention, or did I not give enough affection? Not only will your answers keep me sane, but I'll know never to make the same mistakes again. You can tell me to my face, or even on the phone. You can write it in a letter. Either way, I have to know. Did I never treat you right? Did I always start the fight? Either way, I'm going out of my mind. All the answers to my questions I have to find. My head's spinning. Boy, I'm in the daze. I feel isolated. Don't wanna communicate. I'll take a shot. I will scout. I will run to find peace of mind. The happy mind I want so. Yeah, vexing vocabulary runs right through me. The alphabet runs right from A to Z. Conversations, invitations in my mind. You got my conscience asking questions that I can't find. I'm not crazy. I'm sure I ain't done nothing wrong. I'm just waiting, 'cause I heard that this feeling won't last that long. Never ever have I ever felt so low. When you gonna take me out of this black hole? Never ever have I ever felt so sad. The way I'm feeling, yeah, you got me feeling really bad. Never ever have I had to find. I've had to dig away to find my own peace of mind. I never ever had my conscience to fight. The way I'm feeling, yeah, I just don't feel right. I keep searching deep within my soul for all the answers. Don't wanna hurt no more. I need peace, gotta feel at ease. Need to be free from pain, going insane. My heart aches, yeah. Sometimes vocabulary runs right through my head. The alphabet runs right from A to Z. Conversations, hesitations in my mind. You got my conscience asking questions that I can't find. I'm not crazy. I'm sure I ain't done nothing wrong. Now I'm just waiting, 'cause I heard that this feeling won't last that long. Ever felt so low? When you gonna take me out of this black hole? Never ever have I ever felt so sad. The way I'm feeling, yeah, you got me feeling really
so low. When you're gonna take me out of this black hole. Never ever have I ever felt so sad. Got me feeling really bad. Never ever ever I had to find. I had to take away to find my own peace of mind. I never ever had my conscience to fight. The way I'm feeling, yeah, it just don't feel right. So low. When you gonna take me out of this black hole? Got me feeling really bad. Had to take away to find my own peace of mind. Never ever had my conscience to fight.
What do you mean I won't? No. Oh.
Ooh, you can write it in a letter, babe, 'cause I really need to know. La da 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 da. You can tell me on the phone.
I'm going to go cook dinner. I already don't want to, but I know I have to. So. Um. I'm gonna raid Sid. I've seen her out heaps of times now, and she's really cool. She's playing Haste. You're cooking lunch in a bit, and by that I mean heating up food. Nice. Chat, I think I'm gonna take tomorrow off, but I don't want to say that in case I do end up streaming. But I think I would take my friend to her appointment and then just kind of, I don't know. How many days in a row have I streamed? Just 3, is it? And then I might stream Thursday, Friday, and take Saturday off. I guess. Buy your pal ice cream tomorrow. You'll be her favorite after the anesthetic wears off. Yeah, but her boyfriend is picking her up. I'm only dropping her off. So it makes it a little hard to give her ice cream. Because, do you know what I mean? Wait, is there no one staying? No, you can't stay with, it's like inpatient stuff. If she needs me to stay, I'll stay. I'll just get up early, walk Pixel, go get her, drive her to the hospital, and if I need to stay, I'll just stay. But I don't think I'll need to. Yeah. I'm going to have lunch with my mum on Friday. She's coming into the city, so that'll be nice. I'll have a look, Babster. Thank you. No, it's a hospital. It's in a hospital. Tiny. Chat, thanks for hanging out today. A little bit of a low energy day today. But they can't all be bangers. A lady of skepticism. Look, I am a bit of a skeptic. I was rightfully a skeptic of the video we watched, but I think it can be easy to pick up on. My God, I'm sorry. Chat, be good to yourselves. Drink some water, you know? Bye.